So sodium hypochlorite has this chemical formula, or that is also written as NaO then Cl. It's the same. Okay, that's also the chemical formula of sodium hypochlorite. This is also known as bleaching powder. I know you're familiar with Clorox. Okay, so one of the active ingredient. The active ingredient of Clorox for that bleaching agent is yung sodium hypochlorite. So yes, siya yung may oxidizing activity. That's why it is used as disinfectant, used as bleaching agent. Okay. Next, still under sodium hypochlorite, we have this solution called diluted sodium hypochlorite, or this is also known as modified Dakin solution. When you say modified Dakin solution, it's actually a Dakin solution that has been diluted. Yung pure one, na Dakin solution, that actually contains 5% of sodium hypochlorite. So once it is diluted already, so we tend to lower the concentration of the active sodium hypochlorite. So this time, based on the information here, ang modified Dakin solution already contains 450 to 500 milligrams sodium hypochlorite per 100 ml of water. So that is also equivalent to 0.45 to 0.5% of sodium hypochlorite. So it has been diluted already. When you say a solution has been diluted, we tend to lower the concentration of the active na solute, active solute of that solution. Okay, another solution containing sodium hypochlorite, particularly only 2.5% of it, sodium hypochlorite, is the Labarac solution. And a topical solution of sodium hypochlorite naman contains 0.025%. Okay, so takeaway learning dito is kapag sodium hypochlorite that is topically applied or in solution form, generally they are used as disinfectant. And we have defined last meeting what is the use of disinfectant. It can be applied to inanimate objects. Okay, let's proceed. Sodium iodide. Okay, yung iodide ion. Okay, this is the iodide ion, a compound that has or that contains iodide ion. They generally exhibit expectorant property. So we have defined also this term last meeting, expectorant, meaning it is able to expel, bring up mucus or sputum. Now, yung sodium iodide as a whole, ito naman yung main use niya in iodine preparation is used as iodine solubilizer. Kasi yung iodine alone in a solution, it cannot be easily dissolved in water. Okay? So because iodine cannot be dissolved easily in water, forming a solution preparation or any iodine preparation, then this is added with an iodide. Okay? Kasi yung iodide, example, sodium iodide, it could help enhance the solubility of iodine. Okay? How does it help enhance the solubility of iodine? It tends to form the water-soluble form of iodine, which is the triiodide. Okay? So that's the reason why we need iodine solubilizer like sodium iodide in iodine preparation para lang ma-enhance yung solubility ng iodine. Okay, para it could be easily dissolved now in water. So the triiodide form is the water-soluble form. Okay, next. Ito, sodium monofluorophosphate. This is the primary component of toothpaste. You can check at homes, the toothpaste you're using, the main active ingredient, like for example, Colgate, the active ingredient which is used as anti-carcinogenic in that preparation, is the sodium monofluorophosphate. Okay, so yan yung use niya. Anti-carcinogenic meaning it prevents dental caries. Next, sodium nitroprusside. This is available under the brand name NitroPress. Yung gamit naman niya is during hypertensive emergencies or hypertensive crisis. Okay, kasi yung ginagawa ng gamot na to is it is able to lower the blood pressure. Kaya pwede siya as hypo meaning napapababa niya yung blood pressure. Okay, hypotensive. And take note, meron siyang additional note dito. Ang preparation na to, sodium nitroprusside, should be protected from light. The reason why is it is very prone to photo degradation. Okay? Prone to photo degradation. Ibig sabihin, if it is exposed to light, it will be degraded. It will be decomposed. Okay? Or this is prone to photooxidation. Photooxidation. Ayan. So that's an important note in preparing this solution. Should be protected siya from light. Next, sodium thiosulfate. Okay, sodium thiosulfate has this chemical formula Na2S2O3. Okay, so sodium and then a thiosulfate. So these are the other names of this compound. Photographer's hypo or hypochlor. Its use, na-mention to sa previous na lecture. Component siya ng cyanide antidote kit. Okay, so let's recall the cyanide antidote kit components. We have sodium thiosulfate, also sodium, okay, nitrite, and also amyl nitrite. Okay, so component siya as antidote for cyanide poisoning. Component siya ng cyanide antidote kit. And its characteristic, it's a very good reducing agent. So when you heard about this term, reducing agent, para mapadali yung understanding, you recall the mnemonics. Leora. Diba? For reducing agent yan. It loses electrons during chemical reaction, and it is the one being oxidized in the reaction. Okay, next, sodium polystyrene sulfonate. So it is marketed under the brand name Kayaksalate, and it's used as cation exchange resin. So kapag cation exchange resin, it's a polymer that removes out ions. So particularly in this preparation, it tends to remove or binds preferably potassium ion. Kaya pwede siya for the treatment of hyperkalemia. Kasi yung problema kapag hyperkalemia, mataas yung potassium, okay, in the blood. So to lessen or lower, remove out potassium, okay, during this condition, then we can make use of this, okay, compound. Next, ito, sodium sulfide. Sodium sulfide, we have a preparation containing sodium sulfide, particularly 1% sodium sulfide, yung kinocontain niya, yung Dr. Scholl's gel. Okay, para saan ito? It is used to remove pain or discomfort of ingrown toenails. So yan. It contains, again itong preparation ito contains 1% of sodium sulfide. Next, sodium saccharin. So it's a sweetener, saccharin. Okay, it's a sweetener. Sodium ascorbate, it's a base form of vitamin C. Diba? Example ng brand nito is yung Potency. So it is an antioxidant, diba? Yan yung use ng vitamin C. Okay, particularly yung sodium ascorbate, siya yung basic form ng vitamin C because of the presence of sodium. Okay, now when you heard about this term, antioxidant, that also means nga ang compound is a reducing agent. Okay, reducing agent. Kasi pag hinati mo, sinegment mo, you segment the term anti at saka oxidant, okay? Hindi siya oxidizing agent, di ba? Anti, meaning it counteracts the oxidizing property. So kung hindi siya oxidant, it would be the opposite one. Siya ay reducing agent. Okay? So any antioxidant available na compound, they exhibit reducing property. Okay, next. Sodium formaldehyde sulfoxylate. Ito naman, gamit niya as antidote for mercury poisoning, particularly if the cause of mercury poisoning is the bichloride salt. Okay? So, yan. Okay, next. Sodium metabisulfite. So, ito yung sabi ko kanina. If a compound is used as antioxidant, it also means that it's a reducing agent. Next, sodium tartrate. So it contains tartrate in its compound. So any compound with tartrate, citrate, what else? Sulfate can be used as laxative. It increases bowel movement. Okay. Ito, kindly add in quality control or quality assurance no ng mga compounds. Okay. Ginagamit yung Carl Fisher reagent to determine water content ng compound. Particularly, yung method 1 in water content determination, we call that Carl Fisher titration. Okay? So, yung ginagamit dyan na reagent for this method 1 in water content determination is the Carl Fisher reagent. And sabi dito, a primary standard to prepare this Carl Fisher reagent, yung ginagamit is yung sodium tartrate. So primary standard siya ha, for Carl Fisher reagent. Next, sodium starch glycolate. Gamit naman niya is as tablet excipients. Okay, added siya as a disintegrant. Okay, next. Ito, sodium perborate naman, since it is an oxidizing agent, ayan, it could be used as deodorant kasi it is able to release oxygen to easily, with easily oxidizable. So yan yung use naman ng sodium perborate. It is an oxidizing agent. So pwede siya deodorant. And this is the last compound under sodium. We have the monosodium glutamate. I know you're familiar with MSG. Okay, yung Vetsin. Ayan, di ba yung use niya as flavor enhancer, food enhancer. Now, we have a case reported in one of the restaurant owned by Chinese. This was before. And there was an incident wherein yung mga customers eating in that restaurant, they have experienced the same symptoms like headache, flushing, sweating, and napagkaalaman na upon diagnosis, the reason why they experience that kind of complex symptoms, it's because of too much administration of this compound. Okay, so we call that poisoning as Chinese restaurant syndrome if it is caused by MSG. But We have a new term already for this poisoning. This is now known as MSG symptom complex, wherein yung common manifestation or complex symptoms experienced by the patient is having headache, flushing, and also sweating. Okay, so yan yung common na symptoms of complex caused by MSG, monosodium glutamate. Okay, and those are the important compounds of sodium. Okay, so majority ng mga sodium-containing compound, they are used generally as alkalinizing agent kasi sodium itself, sodium per se, it is an alkaline nga metal. Okay, so that's why most of the compounds containing sodium, meron silang alkaline property or basic property, kaya pwede siya as antacid, alkalinizing agent. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, the next element under group 1A after sodium is potassium. So potassium comes from the Latin word kalium. So this is the reason why yung potassium's elemental symbol is capital letter K. Okay, galing pala siya sa Latin word nga kalium. And recall, based sa mnemonics nga P, then so, on abundancy of cellular fluid, cations, di ba? Let's recall, potassium in, ibig sabihin, it is the major or the most abundant intracellular fluid cation. Okay, so you just recall the mnemonics piso, mico, ficlo, sulibayo for you to recall the quantity, the abundancy of level of abundancy ng mga cellular fluids. Okay, next. Comparing to sodium salts, ang mga potassium salts, they are less deliquescent in property. Ano nga ulit yung deliquescent? Kapag deliquescent, these are compounds that absorbs moisture and then they liquefy. Okay, they liquefy, they dissolve. After they absorb moisture, they also dissolve or liquefy. Then we have this term, potash, referring to soluble ng mga potassium salts. And these are the general functions of compounds containing potassium. Kindly read on this. And then on the preceding slides, we will be discussing compounds having these functions or roles. Okay, let's start with the different important compounds of potassium, starting with sulfurated potash. So based sa iyahang chemical formula, this compound of potassium is a mixture of potassium sulfide. Okay, so it's a mixture of potassium polysulfides, and potassium thiosulfate. So that's the component of sulfurated potash. These are the other names: liver of sulfur, potassium sulfurata, hepar sulfur. One of its important use, this is used in pharmaceutical preparation of white lotion. White lotion USP is also known as Lotio alba. Okay, and yung gamit nito, white lotion generally is used as astringent, used for treatment of skin diseases caused by parasites. Okay, so yan yung use ng white lotion, which contains sulfurated potash. Next. Okay, you can compare the use of potassium acetate with sodium acetate. Okay, parehas lang sila ng use. Okay, so majority of the compounds ng potassium, you can compare it with the sodium compounds. Halos parehas lang sila ng use. Okay, so kung potassium acetate, parehas lang siya ng use ni sodium acetate. Urinary, systemic alkalizer, diuretic, antacid. Okay, next. Potassium bicarbonate. Potassium bicarbonate, it contains carbonate in its compound. So, pwede siya as carbonating agent. Pag sinabing carbonating agent, it's a source of carbon dioxide in a preparation. So, particularly carbonating agent siya for the preparation or solution, MCOS, magnesium citrate, oral solution. Citrate. Diba? Pag may citrate yung compound, yung gamit nito is laxative. So specifically, this is used as a saline laxative, saline laxative. Ayan. So yung kulay niya, sa given na illustration, clear yung kulay ng preparation. But there are other preparation ng MCOS, oral solution of magnesium citrate, which is somehow yellowish in color. So, ito yung ranging color ng preparation magnesium citrate oral solution, clear to yellowish. And again, yung use niya, laxative. Any compound na may citrate, tartrate, sulfate, magnesium, yan. Ginagamit siya as laxative. Potassium bitartrate. So, ito din, may tartrate sa kanyang compound. Then, pwede siya gamitin as laxative. Ayan. Sa bakery naman na field, we have potassium bartitrate, known as cream of tartar or cremor, na ginagamit as ingredient for as baking powder to raise dough. Okay, so that's the other use naman ng potassium bitartrate. Next, potassium carbonate. Ayan, so here's the chemical formula ng potassium carbonate. And the other names, take note of the other names. Potash, pearl ash, salt of tartar, salt of peter. So, meron siyang carbonate sa kanyang compound, carbonating agent. Okay, also, kindly add, the same with sodium carbonate, pwede din siya gamitin as antacid, alkalizer. Okay, next. Ito, potassium chloride. Same with sodium chloride. Same with sodium chloride, pwede siya as electrolyte replenisher. During hypokalemic state, kung ang mababa is yung potassium ion in the blood, okay, as the electrolyte, then we replenish what is lacking. We replenish potassium. Kasi yun yung deficient. Hypokalemic man nga state, mababa yung potassium dyan, then we replenish potassium. Another component ito, yung potassium chloride, component siya ng Ringer solution. Ito na-mention to sa previous na lecture. Ringer solution or the solution of 3 chlorides. Diba, component nito, as we recall, sodium chloride, potassium chloride, calcium chloride. So these are the solution of 3 chlorides or Ringer solution. Component din siya ng lactated Ringer solution. Kung lactated na siya ng Ringer solution, may dagdag na sodium lactate. Yung Darrow solution naman class, yung difference niya is it contains only potassium chloride, sodium chloride, and also sodium lactate. Okay? So that's Darrow solution. So lahat ng solution na to contains potassium chloride. Ayan. Okay, next. Commercially available na potassium chloride, which is available in sustained release tablet form. Sustained release, SR means sustained release. Tablet, yung Kalium Duruls. That's the brand. Okay, so ginagamit siya during hypokalemic state. Now, let me highlight here yung non-medical use ng potassium chloride. Maybe some of you have heard about this. Potassium chloride nga solution, this can be used, okay, as lethal injection, provided that this is administered slowly. Slow IV infusion. Okay? So, pag lethal injection, halimbawa, yung scenario is during death penalty. No? So, pwede gamitan ng potassium chloride to induce lethality. So, used siya as lethal injection. But when we talk about lethal injection as a whole, hindi lang potassium chloride yung binibigay. Kumbaga, pang last na siya nga gina-administer. Yung unang binibigay as a lethal injection. Okay, so let me write it. Ayan. Number 1 is we have to induce first, syempre, anesthesia to that person. Okay? If the goal is to cause death, no, to that person. Okay? So sodium thiopental, diba? In some other countries, death penalty is legal. Okay? So yung unang pinipigay administered is sodium thiopental. This is an anesthetic that will cause anesthesia na effect to make the person unconscious. Okay, unconscious. Ayan. Yung second na gina-administer is yung para sa muscles, para mag-cause ng paralysis sa muscles. Hindi, para lesser movement ngayon to that person. Example, yung pancuronium. Ito yung pinaka-common. Pancuronium bromide. Okay, it will cause again muscle paralysis. And pang third na yung potassium chloride. So yung, yan. Yung kinokos naman ng potassium chloride is yung final stage niya. Okay, cardiac arrest na. Okay, so yan yung, kumbaga, function naman ni potassium chloride when used as lethal injection. Nagkukos siya ng cardiac arrest, leading to death. Okay, so ito yung 3 components ng lethal injection. Okay, so parte doon si potassium chloride. So that's the non-medical use naman ng potassium chloride. And again given siya, this is an important note, given siya slow IV infusion. Hindi siya IV push. Okay? Ang reason why is if given kasi siya immediate, it is very painful. Okay? Painful yung potassium chloride. And then, it will also cause immediate na cardiac arrhythmia na effect. So, yan yung reason bakit hindi siya IV push. Instead, slow IV infusion. Okay? Sige. So, ito yun. Halimbawa, yung potassium chloride in ampoules. Potassium chloride injection. Okay, next. Proceed. Sodium citrate. Okay, sodium citrate, this is used naman as urinary and at the same time systemic alkalizer, expectorant, diaphoretic, meaning sa diaphoretic, it's a compound that induces perspiration. Ayan. And finally, pwede din siya gamitin as osmotic diuretic, the same with ammonium chloride. Okay? Diuresis. So, nagpapaihi pa rin siya. It draws out water, okay, from the blood going to the urine. Okay, so nagkokos din siya ng urination process as diuretic. Then, we also have a compound of it available commercially in extended release tablet form. We have that brand, Acalca. So, yung generic name yan is potassium citrate. Next, ito, potassium gluconate, same with sodium gluconate. Ginagamit siya as electrolyte replenisher. And again, basta in gluconate form, they are less irritating. Okay, next, potassium hydroxide. These are the other names of potassium hydroxide. Ito naman, same with sodium hydroxide. Okay? Ginagamit siya as a saponifying agent. Particularly, saponifying agent for soft soap. Ayan. Whereas yung sodium hydroxide, saponifying agent naman siya for hard soap. Yan yung difference nila. But they are same used as saponifying agent. Pag saponifying agent, for saponification process. It's a process used in making soap. Okay, sabon. Okay, next. Potassium iodide. Same with sodium iodide. No, halos parehas lang sila ng use. Iodine solubilizer. So sabi ko kanina, kailangan ng iodine solubilizer in making iodine preparation. So example of an iodine preparation is yung Lugol's solution. Okay, this is an example of an iodine preparation. So since it contains iodine, we have to make sure nga madadissolve, no? Wholly yung iodine in that preparation. And since iodine is not easily dissolved in water, kailangan nating i-enhance yung solubility niya using an iodine solubilizer like potassium iodide. Okay, next, potassium nitrate. So these are the other names. Saltpeter, yung potassium nitrate. Yung sodium nitrate, siya yung chili. Diba? Chili, salt, peter. Okay? Before, used as meat preservative. Okay, obsolete na ito ha. Before, ginagamit sila, pero ngayon hindi na. As meat preservative. Kasi nga, napagkaalaman na ang mga nitrates, when administered in the body, when metabolized in the body, they form nitrosamines. Okay, and nitrosamines are said to be carcinogenic. Okay, carcinogenic. Okay, next, potassium chlorate, also known as Berthollet salt. It's a strong oxidizing agent. That's why it can be used in toothpaste preparation, in mouthwash or gargle preparation. Okay. Ayan. Ito, potassium permanganate. Other names are mineral chameleon, Condis crystal, or Condis powder. It's used in permanganometry, na type of titration. It's a titration nga process wherein it uses potassium permanganate as the main indicator. Okay, you will learn that more as you go on higher year in quality control nga subject that will be in your second year. So for now, just know nga, itong compound na to, its main use is for this type of redox titration process, permanganometry. For its clinical uses, ginagamit siya for bromhidrosis. Bromhidrosis, this is a condition wherein nagkakaroon ng abnormal or excessive odor, body odor. Okay? That's bromhidrosis. Mycotic infection is caused by fungi. Ayan. Then, ginagamit din siya in poison ivy dermatitis. And these are other uses ng potassium permanganate. More on cleansing of wounds. Ayan. For abscesses, ayan, wet dressings, or as bath in eczematous conditions. Okay. Next, potassium metabisulfite. It's an antioxidant, so can be used as reducing agent. Potassium metaphosphate naman as buffering agent. Kumbaga, it's a solution that could resist changes in the pH of a solution. Monobasic potassium phosphate, also known as Sorensen's potassium phosphate, ito naman ginagamit for the treatment of hypercalcemia. Okay, the concept here that you could apply in order to understand why this compound can be used to treat hypercalcemia is yung relationship ni calcium towards phosphate. Inversely proportional kasi siya. So, during hypercalcemia, kung taas masyado yung calcium, diba mababa yung phosphate. Inversely proportional yung relationship nila. Okay? So, with this compound containing a phosphate in it, so pwede niyang i-reverse, no? Yung case dito Increasing the phosphate, therefore, if we increase the phosphate, then we tend to lower the calcium in the blood. So that's why nakalagay siya, treatment for hypercalcemia. Okay, and then dibasic potassium phosphate, ganun din, treatment for hypercalcemia. Potassium sorbate, preservative, antimicrobial in certain preparations. Ito, Rochelle salt. Rochelle salt, or chemically known as potassium sodium tartrate. It has this chemical formula. Sodium, potassium, then tartrate. Okay? Or parehas lang na siya, pwede siyang replaceable siya, potassium, then sodium. Pwede niyo siyang i-rearrange. Pwede din mauuna yung potassium, followed by sodium. Then the iron tartrate. That's also known as Rochelle salt. And its use could be used as cathartic. In laboratory na mga preparation, ginagamit siya as component in Fellings solution. Particularly, component siya ng Fellings B as sequestering agent. Ayan. Okay, talking about Fellings solution, okay, let me insert here. A Fellings solution actually contains two major components. We have the Fellings A and Fellings B. So sabi dyan, ang component ng Fellings B as sequestering agent is ito, yung sodium, potassium tartrate, or yung Rochelle's salt. Ayan. Aside from Rochelle salt, component din ng Fellings B is yung sodium hydroxide. So yung Rochelle salt serves as the sequestering agent. Kumbaga, it will form or it will form a complex compound when reacted with other nga molecule. So it will just sequester or form complex nga molecule when a reaction happens. Yung sodium hydroxide naman, it serves as the base. Okay, kumbaga it will maintain the solution in basic property, alkaline property. Yung Fellings A naman, component niya is yung cupric sulfate or yung tinatawag na blue vitriol. Ayan. Blue vitriol because the color of the solution is color blue. Ayan. So yan generally yung component ng Fellings solution. O para saan ba yung buong solution, Fellings solution? This is used to detect presence of reducing sugar. Presence of reducing sugar in a sample. Example of reducing sugars are the monosaccharides like glucose, galactose. And so if the goal is to detect presence of this type of reducing sugar in a sample or in a solution, you can make use of Fellings solution. Ayan. Okay, and going back to the compound Rochelle salt, potassium sodium tartrate, component siya particularly ng Fellings B. Okay, next, potassium arsenite or Fowler solution. Before, ang gamit ng Fowler solution is as anti-leukemic agent, anti-leukemia. Okay, but this is not anymore used for this condition, leukemia, because of the component arsenic. Okay, this metal is known to be toxic. Yung arsenic, it's a toxic metal. It's poisonous. Okay, it may cause adverse effects in the body. So hindi na siya ginagamit ngayon as anti-leukemic agent. Okay, next, potassium bromide. Okay. Kapag may bromide ion, yung compound, pwede siya for bipolar disorder. Okay, nakalagay dyan as depressant. And finally, potassium tetraiodomercurate, also known as Nessler's reagent. It's actually an alkaline solution used to detect ammonia, okay, in a sample. And the positive indicator, if Nessler's reagent able to detect ammonia in a sample, yung positive visible result is brownish color or brownish precipitate. Okay, so those are the important compounds ng potassium. Okay, then talking about qualitative analysis of potassium, I say qualitative analysis, if we are to detect potassium ion in a sample, may it be known or unknown sample, basta yung goal is to precipitate out potassium or detect if may potassium ion ba in that sample, we can make use of the following reagent. So that's all about qualitative analysis. Okay, qualitatively detecting presence of ions in a sample. So we can use sodium cobaltinitrite, tetraphenyl boron, or perchloric acid. So ito yung perchloric acid. Again, these are the three important reagents that could precipitate out, remove out insoluble potassium. Okay, so far we were able to discuss already the following alkali or group 1A elements. We have hydrogen, lithium, sodium, and also potassium. Okay, now this slide naman, okay, we will be discussing the remaining two, okay, na elements under alkali metal, rubidium and also cesium. Okay, now talking about rubidium and cesium generally, both have very similar behavior to potassium ion kasi kasunod sila ng potassium. Okay, so knowing that they follow the element potassium, somehow they exhibit or resemble similar chemical behavior to potassium ion. Particularly, we will be discussing only one compound for each of this alkali metal. For rubidium, one of its pharmaceutically important compound is rubidium chloride, 82 injection USP. Or this is available under the brand Cardiogen. So para saan siya? Cardio. So that's the keyword. Pwede siya for cardiac imaging, for cardiac perfusion imaging, for those patients with suspected heart problem. Particularly, the heart problem is halimbawa myocardial infarction. Okay, so very useful siya to diagnose a patient with coronary artery disease. So yan yung use ng rubidium chloride. So this is being injected para lang mas clear, no, upon imaging, upon positron emission tomography scan. It's actually a scanner. Okay? Para mas klaro yung pagka-capture ng cardiac muscle. Okay? Makita kung meron ba talagang problema. Then this compound is used, no, to clearly capture an image of the heart with suspected heart problem, like coronary artery disease. And lastly, for cesium naman, we have this compound, cesium chloride. Ayan, cesium chloride. This is used in density gradient centrifugation. Okay, particularly yung use nito is simply to separate, okay, any biomolecules, particularly yung biomolecules could be nucleic acids, DNA, or RNA. So, kumbaga, more on to purify nucleic acids. Yan yung use ng cesium chloride during density gradient centrifugation to separate biomolecules like DNA in order to purify such nucleic acids. So we are done, no, discussing important compounds under Group 1A elements. Now, before we proceed to Group 1B or coinage metals, let's discuss muna about ammonium. Okay? Okay, sabi dito, ammonium is considered a pseudo-alkali metal ion. It's an alkali metal ion, but pseudo, yung characteristic niya, it's a false one, fake one, kasi hindi naman siya, when we check on its component, wala naman siyang alkali metal, no? Yung component niya are non-metals, nitrogen, at saka hydrogen. But why is it considered a fake or false pseudo-alkali metal? It is because it also exhibit, same with alkali metal, it exhibit a univalency nga characteristic, forming a positive one oxidation state. So univalent din siya, and at the same time, it forms +1 nga oxidation state. Diba yung ammonium, yung formula niya as an ion, yung charge niya particularly, or oxidation state, it's plus, or specifically +1. Okay, so pareha siya ng alkali metal. It is able to participate in ionic bonding. So that's the reason why it is called pseudo-alkali metal. It exhibits some of the properties ng isang alkali metal. Okay. Next, we have this term aqueous ammonia. And yung aqueous ammonia is considered a mild alkalizer. Ayan. And often, ang mga ammonium salts, they are preferred as alkali bases. Okay. Next, household ammonia. Yung household ammonia na preparation class, take note, it has a concentration 10% ammonia, wherein itong 10% ammonia na to could be equivalent to its density, equivalent to the density, wherein yung value na to, 10% ammonia, could be translated to 16%, sabi dito, 16 degrees Baume, okay? Translated as 16 degrees Baume. Ayan. Again, yung 10% nga concentration or value, that is actually equivalent to the density ng solution na yan, which is translated to 16 degrees Baume. What is this 16 degrees Baume, or yung unit na to, yung unit na degrees Baume? This actually refers, okay, to the, particularly yung Baume, no, na term. Yung Baume na term, that refers to the scale. Okay, we call that Baume scale. Ano ba yung Baume scale? It's somehow a hydrometer na scale. Okay, hydrometer na scale, which is used, okay, used to measure density. Used to measure density of liquids. Okay, so when you heard about a unit nga degrees Baume or Baume na term, okay, so it's a hydrometer scale. So household ammonia, it has this value of density 16 degrees. 16 degrees. With regards to the effects of ammonium salts or ammonium compounds, so these are the possible effects niya or pharmacological use. So we will be discussing compounds containing ammonium with these uses. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, one is yung ammonium carbonate. So this is the chemical formula of ammonium carbonate. The other names and its use could be as expectorant, and kindly add, it can also be used as smelling salts. Okay, yung nakalagay sa baba, ayan. Ammonium carbonate is used as smelling salts when combined with strong ammonia solution. Okay, so particularly yung combination pala ni ammonium carbonate plus strong ammonia solution that forms aromatic ammonia spirit. Okay, and aromatic ammonia spirit, that's used generally as respiratory stimulant. Okay, yung smelling salt particularly, pag sinabing smelling salt, this is a respiratory stimulant na preparation. Okay, pag sinabing respiratory stimulant, it stimulates CNS. Okay, it restores the consciousness of the patient who have fainted. Okay, so yan. And ito naman, you will appreciate this more, yung information na to sa last bullet, na ang ammonium carbonate is a precipitating agent for group 4 cations. In your laboratory, you will appreciate this more when you perform a laboratory experiment on qualitative analysis or separation of certain ions in a solution. Take note, ang ammonium carbonate is used to precipitate out yung mga cations under group 4. Okay, so let me introduce na lang that. Okay, so that you will have an idea already on the different groups of cations based on reactivity. Okay, we actually have 5 groups of cations based on its reactivity. Okay, we have here the group 1, also known as insoluble chloride groups. Okay, we also have group 2. Group 2 naman na cations, tawag sa kanila is insoluble sulfide groups or the acid insoluble. Okay, acid insoluble sulfides. Okay, acid insoluble sulfides. Yung group 3 naman are the base insoluble sulfides. Group 4 as the base insoluble carbonates. And finally, yung group 5 cations, sila naman yung soluble groups, meaning they do not precipitate out using the precipitating agents used from group 1 to group 4. Kaya soluble group yung group 5. Okay? Sige, let me enumerate what are the cations that consist each group. Under group 1, cations, you can make use of the mnemonics merciless para mapadali yung pag-recall nyo sa mga cations under group 1. Merciless, mer for mercuric, not mercuric, mercurous rather. Mer for mercury or mercury 1, mercurous. Yung SI dyan, C for silver. Okay? And then yung LE for lead. Diba lead is PB. Ayan. So, merciless, mercury 1, silver, and lead. These are the group 1 cations. And sabi dito, they are insoluble chloride groups, meaning to say they can be removed out in soluble form using chloride. Okay, so example ng chloride would be concentrated hydrochloric acid. So ito yung gagamitin to precipitate out these cations in a sample. Okay, halimbawa yung goal nyo is to detect if may silver ba, okay, in that solution, you simply add hydrochloric acid. Example, 2 to 3 drops of hydrochloric acid in that solution, then you will observe a white precipitate. Meaning to say, yung formation of the precipitate na yon you already tend to remove out or precipitate out the insoluble silver chloride. Okay? So yan yung use no ng information na to in qualitative analysis. Yung group 2 cations naman, you can make use of this mnemonics. Anti, MERS, Gabico, Kada, Oras. The purpose of this mnemonics is just to easily recall the ions present for each group. Okay, yung an dyan is for antimony. Antimony is SB, SB, di ba? Yung mnemonic, yung elemental symbol niya. Okay? So you have antimony nga 3+, meron ding antimony 5+. Okay? Yung T dyan, Ti for tin. Tin is SN, right? Merong 2+, meron ding 4+. MERS for mercuric. Okay? Yung mercuric, 2+. Then B for bismuth. Cu, that's for copper. And then Cad for cadmium. And then finally As for arsenic. Okay, that's it. So that's just a mnemonics to easily recall the ions under group 2. So sabi dito, ang group 2 naman, they precipitate out in the presence of sulfide, provided that acidic yung solution. So the confirmatory reagent or precipitating reagent that you can use here would be a sulfide. Of course, you need a sulfide, hydrogen sulfide, for example, with an acid. Example ng acid, sulfuric acid. So yan naman yung gagamitin to precipitate out or to confirm for confirmatory testing of these ions under group 2. Example, you wanted to detect if may copper ba yung sample na yan, or you wanted to remove out copper in that solution. You add hydrogen sulfide in an acidic environment. And you will observe mayroong precipitate na mafu-form. That is an indicator na you have formed the insoluble sulfide of copper, the cupric sulfide. Okay, next. Let's have group 3. Ang group 3 mnemonics natin dito is Ziniko, Og, Fe, Ala, Man, Nag, ayan, CR. Okay? Medyo weird yung mnemonics, no? But it can actually help, no? Mnemonics will help you survive in memorization. Okay, Z for zinc, obviously. Okay? Then Ni for nickel. And then Co for cobalt. Fe for iron. Okay, we have iron 2+, meron din tayong 3+ na iron. Al for aluminum. Next, yung mang dyan is manganese. Okay? Merong 2+, meron ding 7+ na manganese. And finally, yung Cr is for chromium. Okay, chromium 3+. Okay? So sabi naman dito, yung mga group 3 cations, they precipitate out or they form insoluble salt in the presence pa rin ng sulfide. But what would be the environment? Sabi dito, the environment would be basic. So, therefore, yung magiging confirmatory reagent natin dito, ganun din, hydrogen sulfide, a sulfide, in the presence this time of a base. So, example ng base, ammonium hydroxide. Diba? Pag may hydroxide, yung compound, it's a base. Okay? Then, group 4, cation. Group 4 cation, yung mnemonics ko dito, medyo pinaka-weird. You can write here, Sir, okay, for strontium, okay? Then, ba, ka, naman. It's an expression lang. Sir, baka naman. Okay? So, Sir for strontium, Ba for barium, and Ca for calcium. Ayan. So those are the group 4 cations. Kumbaga, they form insoluble precipitate in the presence of what? Carbonate. So kailangan natin ng carbonate containing na precipitating agent. And dapat it should be in basic environment. So example, pinaka-common dito is yung ammonium carbonate. Okay? Ammonium carbonate. With base man daw, so dapat merong base, so ammonium hydroxide. So kailangan mo ng carbonate to precipitate out these ions in a sample or in a solution. And the environment should be basic. Okay? And finally, yung group 5 cation soluble group sila. Bakit sila tinawag na soluble group? Kasi they do not precipitate with all these precipitating agent, hydrochloric acid, hydrogen sulfide, or carbonate. So they do not form insoluble salt with the presence of these precipitating agent. Kaya soluble ang tawag sa kanila. Okay, soluble group. So example dito, magnesium ion, sodium ion, potassium ion, ammonium ion. Okay, yung mnemonics ko naman dito is mag, nakaw, okay, sa amo. Okay, so magnesium, sodium, potassium, at saka ammonium. That's just a mnemonics class for you to easily recall different ions for each group. Ayan. So I hope you can make use of this information when you perform qualitative analysis in relation to detecting or confirming presence of cations in a sample in your laboratory. Okay, now I would like to give emphasis on group 5 cations. Since ang group 5 cations, they are soluble, it cannot be precipitated using those precipitating agent like hydrochloric acid, hydrogen sulfide, and carbonates. Ano yung best way to confirm them in a sample since hindi sila nagpo-form, di ba, ng precipitate? The best way to test them in a solution is using flame test. Okay? So we have two ways how to test. No? In your laboratory, you might perform this flame testing of such ions, particularly yung mga under sa group 5 cations. Okay, so dalawa yung klase ng flame testing. We have the non-luminous flame testing and yung under sa cobalt glass. This is also using non-luminous flame but may presence of cobalt glass. Sige, let's identify the color na distinct color that they produce when tested under non-luminous flame. Non-luminous flame class, yung sa Bunsen burner na color blue flame. Okay? Kasi yung blue flame is the hottest flame. Okay? So, dyan mo siya i-test. Okay? Using copper wire, you dip the tip of the copper wire sa solution na may sodium, then i-ignite mo siya under blue flame, non-luminous flame. You will observe a persistent golden yellow color. That's for sodium. Persistent golden yellow na color. But under a cobalt glass, wala siyang distinct color na pinoproduce. Next. Okay, let's have potassium. Yung potassium naman under non-luminous flame, it's color violet. Under cobalt glass, it's crimson red. Okay? Next, lithium. Yung lithium, very distinct din yung kulay niya under non-luminous flame. It has a carmine red na color na pwedeng i-produce under non-luminous flame. And then under cobalt glass naman, it's color purple. If you are curious enough for the color na they really produce, you can search in sa YouTube. Sa YouTube. Flame testing of sodium so that you could appreciate what does the persistent golden yellow color na feature, so on and so forth. But in your laboratory, I believe you will perform this naman. Okay? Calcium. Yung calcium naman, under non-luminous flame, it shows brick red na color. But under a cobalt glass, light green naman. Okay? Next, strontium. Yung strontium, yung mnemonics ko dito, yung meron siyang letter R. No? So, under non-luminous flame kasi yung pinaka-common nga way of testing or flame testing. Okay? So, crimson red. Yung may letter R. Crimson red naman. And then under cobalt glass, it's color purple. And then barium, okay, barium naman, yellowish green under non-luminous flame. And then under cobalt glass, it's bluish green. Okay? And then borate. This is very common. Yung borate, commonly asked, under non-luminous flame, it shows color green nga color, and then sa cobalt glass, wala namang kulay. Okay? So, that's it. For the distinct color na pinoproduce no, ng certain ions under non-luminous flame and under cobalt glass. Okay? You will appreciate this more in your laboratory. I'm just giving you the theories. Then sa laboratory nyo siya ipe-perform. Yung pag-demo or yung pag-perform na ng laboratory. Para actual nyo siya ma-observe. Okay? Sige. Let's move on to the second compound ng ammonium. We have ammonium chloride. These are the other names. Yung use niya, we mentioned kanina, ammonium chloride, it is used as osmotic diuretic. Okay? That's ammonium chloride. Systemic acidifier and urinary acidifier. Basta may chloride no, present in a compound, they usually acidify no, the solution, the preparation. Next, ito, ammonium alum, potassium alum, ito din yung tinatawag na tawas. Okay? Yung chemical formula ng tawas is a double salt of potassium and aluminum sulfate. Okay? So, yan yung component ng tawas. And para saan ba yung tawas? Diba anti-perspirant, astringent. Ayan. Ito, strong ammonia solution na mention kanina sa first compound under ammonium na if this is combined with ammonium carbonate, they tend to produce aromatic ammonia spirit. And aromatic ammonia spirit, ginagamit siya as respiratory stimulant. Okay, to restore or to stimulate CNS. Stimulant. Next, ammonium phosphate as buffering agent. Ammonium iodide, ganun din. Same with potassium iodide, sodium iodide, solubilizer siya of iodine. Ito, nasabi na kanina, yung aromatic ammonia spirit. It's used as respiratory stimulant. Yung ammonium acetate naman, also known as spirit of Menderosus, it's used as styptic. Okay, pag sinabing styptic, it stops bleeding. Okay, it is able to stop bleeding. It forms clotting, kumbaga. And finally, yung bromide, depressant. So, may bromide, pwede for bipolar disorder. Yan, nakalagay dyan, depressant. Ammoniated mercury naman, also known as white precipitate, its main use is as anti-infective. Bakit siya pwede? As antimicrobial, to prevent growth of infections, growth of microbes. This is due to the component mercury. Okay? May mercury sa kanyang compound. Yan yung reason bakit merong antimicrobial property yung compound na ito. Okay? Then, ito yung last compound under ammonium hydroxide. Ammonium compound, we have ammonium hydroxide. Ito naman, ginagamit siya to separate bismuth from copper or to separate bismuth from cadmium. And these are the distinct color of ammonium when it forms complex with copper. It's color blue. With cadmium, it's colorless. With bismuth, it's white hydroxide. Okay, so those are the important compounds ng ammonium class. Okay, so medyo mahaba. No, yung 1A, group 1A, because of the compounds under sodium at saka potassium, medyo marami yung compounds ng sodium at potassium. That's why medyo natagalan tayo sa 1A or alkali metals. Okay, but overall, we were able to discuss the major pharmaceutically important compounds that falls under alkali metals or falls under 1A element. So we have hydrogen again, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and kindly include yung ammonium. Okay. Yes, someone is raising his hand. You can unmute yourself if you have question. Yes. Yes, you may speak. Whoever is raising his hand or her hand. Do you have any question before we proceed? Okay, walang question. Okay, for the remaining slide for group 1B, okay, para hindi masyadong mahaba na yung lecture video, then I will now end this. However,